Alright, so I'm going to saute up a little pasta dish. Typically I do this with ratatouille pasta, but it's kind of a little Greek influence, but I'm going to throw in some peppers in there. We've got some chicken, some grape tomatoes, a little bit of scallion, some olives, capers, some feta cheese to top off as a garnish, some roasted chicken, and a little different style, a little campanelli pasta and frittatelli pasta, garlic, chicken broth, a little bit of sausage, and then I've got some of the super hots from my friend Steven, and these are the brain strains and some naga peppers and some of the yellow 7 pots. We're going to do this. I'm going to throw those in later so we don't have to burn up anybody's palate here. What you want to do is you want to get your pan really hot. Got some chopped garlic and olive oil. And what I'm going to do here, I've got my pan already heated, so I'm going to start out here. I'm going to use a little bit of butter to finish the sauce with. And start out, I'm going to use a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Actually, I'm actually going to use pure olive oil. Start out with a little bit of that. And another great little flavor you can use here, some Himalayan sea salt, seasoning. You can get this at Costco, at Civil. It's nice. Keep that pantry stock item. Got some capers, some calamari olives. And that's about it. So what I'm going to do is, this is nice and hot. So this is super smoky right here. I'm going to start out. You got to do this kind of quickly so you don't burn this up. Alright, I'm going to throw in a little bit of garlic. And typically when I do this, I'll throw in actually sliced garlic. And you got to be careful when you're doing this. When this is nice and hot, it's going to cook quick. So when you do that, you can see it's already browning up. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the tomatoes in. You can see what's still going on there. Go ahead and add a little bit of the chicken in there. Alright. Be careful of that. And one of my rules of thumbs is, when you're doing that, give that a nice stir. Toss that up. What you do is when you add those proteins in and all the vegetables in, it's going to cool that down. You can see there the garlic just caramelized a little bit. And the thing is, wipe this down. I mean, that's what you get. You see you got a little spew there. Pulling off from that. When you get that's a lot of it. And now when you get to this point, turn down the heat just a little bit. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a little bit of the calamatas. And in fact, I'm just going to add all that. And you also want a little bit of the brine from the calamatas and the capers. That juice there, that saltiness is going to add a great amount of flavor to that. Okay? Then I'm going to also throw in, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a sprig of thyme that I've got out of my garden. And I've also got a bunch of basil. Well, let's just go ahead and add it all in. Basil. And I've got some green onions, or scallions, that I got from the farmer's market. So, you can see right here, a nice, beautiful little dish already going right now. I mean, you can take this, if you want to do a vegetarian dish, you can leave the chicken out. Then at this point, I'm going to crank the heat back up, give this a nice little toss. Just to let those aromatics work in there. Now, the thyme here is going to break off, and what I'm going to do is pull those sticks out at the very end. At this point too, I've also got some Italian sausage. If you want to add that in, you can do that as well. I'm actually going to saute it separate and add it in. And at the very end, I've got some feta cheese, which I'm going to use as a garnish on top of that. But you can use mozzarella. Typically that's great there. And also I've got some basic chicken broth. I'm going to deglaze the pan with this. If you want to get that caramelization, the key is, if you want to do this with nice sliced pieces of garlic, it's great because you get that caramelization on them and you get that nutty flavor from that as well. I'm going to throw in a little bit of some jalapenos that I've grown and some cayenne, some yellow cayenne. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there just to give it a little bit of heat flavor, not too much, because these homegrown jalapenos are actually kind of mild. Throw that thyme in there as well. Cook that up. You can see the color of it. Beautiful. Then, at this point, you go ahead and add a little bit of pasta. And you can do it with pasta if you want, or you can do this straight up with the proteins. Alright, so we throw that in there. Give that a little toss. Okay? We'll do that. And at this point, let that go for just a sec. So everything's cooling it down now. The key is when you're sauteing with that garlic, you got to be careful with that. The thing is, when you're doing the saute, if you're doing the sliced garlic, you get those really almost like garlic crisp that are going in there. Now at this point, especially if you're doing this in a restaurant setting or a la carte, it's going to go out in just a few minutes. Alright, but you can hear the sizzle in this beautiful presentation you got here. You got the olives, you got the you got the capers, you got the garlic, the scallions, and we'll deglaze a little bit with this, the chicken broth. And add that right in. And at this point, you can add a little bit of salt and pepper. Got that. A little bit of Himalayan sea salt. Real crazy on it. You gotta remember, the calamari have salt, capers have salt. If you use any kind of cheese that's got a salt content to it, you got to take that into account. Alright, so you've got this here cooking down with this broth, the chicken. And if you want to slice tomatoes up, you can. They actually look kind of nice for presentation purposes. You can see that you got a lot of aromatics going on there. Alright, the key is having all your ingredients and your mise en place together. And like I said before, I've got some roasted pork that I had before, and I've got these super hots that I've gotten from my friend Steven. These are the ultimate and premium hot peppers that you could probably get. They're the top of the line, and as far as heat level, they're the best peppers probably right now on the planet, and the hottest ones you can get too. And there's a plethora of seasoning going here. So you can see that. We're cooking that down. And the key is, while you're cooking, you should taste your food. This is not a cook and serve. You want to make sure that your guests or whoever's eating it. Yeah. So at that point, it needs a touch more salt. And you can always add salt at the end. You can see this is a nice little broth-based sauté pasta dish. Okay. Fresh basil, calamari olives, capers, onions, garlic. And basically that's it. So what you do on that, take that, serve that up. And at this point you want to take some of this. Tilt your pan a little bit. Obviously it's something you want to serve with the broth. Take the pan, scoop that out. I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like here in a second. Okay. Alright. So we'll take that. If you want to garnish it, you can do whatever type of cheese you want. This right here is I'm going to do a little bit of feta on it. Okay. And then I'm going to garnish it up. Put a couple chili peppers on there. Just to throw a little color profile. And this is it. That takes about, once you get all your mise en place together and you get it done, I mean, it takes you really about 5 minutes to make this dish. But you got to make sure you have everything done. Very healthy. Salt that up. Use some low sodium broth. And you can mix this up. You can put other proteins in there if you want. And it's a delicious dish. You get the brine from the olives and from the brine also from the capers, and just, you know, fresh herbs out of your garden. You can't beat that. Hands down, it's probably one of the, and it's nutritious. Very healthy and a great little summer dish you can use. So that's my little input for your 4th of July dinner special. Enjoy.